Hey, how you doing? It's Thomas from Silver Dragon Studio. I know I haven't posted anything in a long time. Um, my business had gone to more conventions, and then considering this is COVID lockdown, so we've had to move a lot of our business onto eBay temporarily, so that we can still have some kind of income coming in, so that we can, pay what bills we can. So with that, one of the things I wanted to point out in my previous couple of videos I did for do-it-yourself to be helpful is materials. I did a packaging video a long time ago, probably a couple of years ago or more, and I talked about packaging. So we'll come back to that today, and what we're going to talk about is tape, and basically what I found. It's common sense stuff, but I could save you some time and maybe a couple of bucks. So one of the things that to introduce you to different types of tape. So this is considered what's known as electrical tape. It's basically like a sticky plastic tape. Um, Great for insulating electric wiring and stuff, frayed or worn, but not good for packaging. Just in case that's the only thing you have and you're desperate, I'd recommend just like running to a dollar store or somewhere else, Walmart if you have one, and get real tape. So don't use this. Another type of tape is there's the yellow masking tape. You got the blue painter's tape, and then you have the green frog tape. So again, not very good. The tack is what we're talking about. It's like how sticky something is. These are great for if you need to, work on something and then you're painting and then, or like I used to do airbrushing, and then you want to peel that up and have a nice crisp line. Frog tape, the green stuff, is really good for that, especially if you need to do any edging for your walls, ceilings, whatever. So this stuff doesn't even really work well if you're like sealing a bag or something because it's going to keep popping up. It's great for temporary, of course. If heat gets to it, with like most things, it's not gonna work well. Now, you can get little things of as they call it, Scotch tape, but you're gonna have like the crystal clear stuff, and then you're gonna have like the milky white stuff. Again, that's the tack. How tacky is it? So this stuff, you're wrapping Christmas presents or whatever. Usually, you can read what type of tape it is. Some of it's semi-removable, some of it's semi-permanent. Permovable means that it's permanent if you leave it up for too long. And that's generally for stuff like the fathead material. So if you had some blank fathead or vinyl laying around, you're like, oh, this has got a decent amount of tack to it. It's like, well, that stuff is supposed to be movable, but if it's more like the vinyl stuff, then that actually hardens over time, like 6 months, then it becomes hard as a rock. If you have actually straight vinyl, then that stuff is meant to be adhered to a permanent fix. So don't use that for packaging. Now I have now this is a tape gun. If you get a good one, I highly recommend it. This one, where the blades are, has a protective shield you can put down when not in use. That one's pretty good. It also has a nut you can tighten to control how fast the tape comes out. And if you notice that it has a metal piece here, which helps feed the tape up to the area where it's going to cut, and then you would pop this open. And then, now a lot of people, they do it where they just, they hit it and then they pull down. One of the things I recommend is you hold the tape, and of course now I'm folding it over, I'm glad I did that by accident because you can see some of the challenges, especially with this brand of tape. So, and then you peel up, and you have this piece right here, which is also a guard, and then it comes off and it cuts. You can, over time, the blades will actually get bent, but they're still pretty sharp little triangles. You can take a pair of pliers and very carefully bend those back into a row. I have another tape gun which is in use right now, which the neat thing is this guard is not there in the same way. When you press against this, it actually pushes the blades out. I've only nicked myself a couple times, but I prefer that one. But I also do the pull the tape out as much as I think I need, break it off, and then apply it to what I'm trying to do, especially if you're printing off of eBay and you have like the little labels you're printing on paper and you're folding in there. For smaller boxes, since we are talking about taping stuff down, I have my default set at 75%, of original size when I go to print. So instead of getting a label this big, it might actually be like this big, which you can still scan. The FedEx label still scan. The United States Postal Service label still scan. When I brought it to the FedEx drop-off, they were like, oh, look, a little label. They were still able to scan it, no problem. So make sure that your printer's clean, head's clean, got enough ink in there so that it comes out, and then do one package at a time. Don't try to sit there and do a bunch. We do it like assembly line. So we take the first package, make sure we have the necessary materials for packaging, excuse me, and then move forward. So I'm not particularly picking out Scotch as the brand that I highly recommend, but I do highly recommend it because one, it's clear. This brown stuff, the tack on it is not that good, and this tape is weak and thin, and well, it is made in the USA, but it's because of the thinness. This is good for light wrapping and stuff, but for heavy duty, like, you need to make sure this box is going to get through FedEx, UPS, USPS, whatever. It specifically says heavy duty 3M shipping packaging tape. This did not say this. Okay, so when I got this, I wasn't really thinking about how this was going to work. So go with something sturdy like this. Use something good. I actually get this from Costco. Other resources are Uline. You can order through Uline. You can check Amazon. You can check, but I don't recommend, unless you don't have a choice, going to the dollar store and picking this stuff up, because the difference is you get what you pay for. So a package of, I think it's 6 or so of these. I don't have my package with me. I think it's like $20. But when you go to the dollar store, so you might only get like to here, and you can see you get this much this way. You only get like that much at the dollar store, and then the quality. Not knocking the dollar store. I've gotten some really cool themed duct tape, which I've had to use for repairs and stuff. And it's kind of cool when it's like everybody's using silver duct tape, and you go, oh, I have purple, or I have pirates, or I have whatever, pink for my wife. I have dragons, Silver Dragon Studio. That was kind of cool. And side note, why would you care about the color of duct tape when you're setting up a convention, a grid wall, and everybody has the exact same size and color grid wall? And I've got little purple pieces at the bottom of my grid wall. One, I know which way is up because they're purple and it's on the bottom. So, and then everybody else has grid wall. If I loan it out or whatever, I know that's mine, unless someone's going to take the time to take the tape off. They're not going to do that. So again, recommending heavy duty shipping tape. You go with the 3M if you want to take my advice, if you want to try a couple different, see what works for you. And then on another note, since we're talking about shipping, and I was talking about bags, what I've been using is to cover up. So I sold a Dungeons & Dragons esque. It's a D20 system called Sword and Sorcery. I never actually ran this one myself, so I'm not that familiar with it. But what I like to do is I take these, go to my local comic shop, Painted Visions down in Woodbridge, Virginia. These are the polyethylene bags, 3 mil. And what I do is I take 4 of those, and I will do one on each side, and then I flip it over, and then I'll do one on each side, and I tape it all together. And that's where you can use a lighter tack, like the brown tape, or even these small rolls of tape, or like the milky white tape, because you're just trying to keep this, and this is basically like a vapor barrier. If you don't have a big enough Ziploc bag, or if you don't have this and you can afford to get the big rolls of saran wrap, the cling wrap, you can do that. You can do this. I think it's like, what I pay, $7.50, $8 for 100 bags. I'm using about 4. They do have role-playing game size bags if you want to actually go spend the money on that. I think it's like $10. You get 100. So it just depends on price. Because I do comic books and magazines and stuff, I'm going to have magazine bags around, and ordering specific role-playing game bags. I might use up 100. Yeah, I use 4 times as much, but I want this to come to me, my way. I want this to go out as if it was coming to me. And then other quick packaging notes. Chipboard, cardboard for protection. Get some envelopes. small bubble wrap. Okay, leftover air pack, which are great to reuse. Then you have this other style of recyclable Pro PACKR air cushions. And what I like about these is you can actually tear these up. So works pretty good. And just recycle, reduce, reuse. It really does make a difference. The other thing you do is, if you hate those packing peanuts, take a Ziploc bag, take all the packing peanuts, zip them up in here, squeeze out some of the air, and then a lot of times you can take that and form that around if you have an odd item so that it would rest the packing peanuts, and you take another one, wedge it in there. Then they don't go all over the place, because those things are horrific. Unless you're lucky and you have some of the ones that are actually made from puffed rice, you can eat those. Don't recommend it, but you can eat those. But basically what happens, if they ended up outside on the ground, you could pour water on it and they just disintegrate. So not bad for the environment. So there you go. Again, this is Thomas from SilverDragonStudio.net. If you want to find me, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. We have our website, which is basically just a holding portal for stuff that we also connect with other people and help. Don't really use it as much as we do Facebook and Instagram. So again, thank you much during COVID. Catch you later until I can do another video for you. All right, take care. Bye.